Hi children, welcome back to the lesson that is 18th chapter wastewater story. So in this lesson already we discussed about what is wastewater and how do the drainage system is arranged, underground drainage system and as well as open drainage system. So however we completed about that and we already discussed about the system of wastewater drainage system, and finally we reached, where do we reach? To the wastewater treatment plant. Where we are now? Wastewater treatment plant. So what is meant by wastewater treatment plant? The name itself indicating it treats. Treatment means, why do we get treatment? To get cure. So nothing but we are going to cure the wastewater. We are going to cure wastewater means we are making the wastewater into healthy water. So that is what we call wastewater treatment plant. So let us see what would be there at the wastewater treatment plant, and it is also called as sewage treatment plant. We call it as sewage treatment plant. So let us see what they do in this. First of all, the sewage water is allowed to flow, and here when it reaches to the wastewater treatment plant, here across the flow of water they arrange bar screens. What do they arrange? They arrange bar screens. What is meant by bar screen? Here bar screen is a metal object which can able to stop the flow of physical impurities. Means, for example, in this water, if there are any twigs, any fallen part, any plastic or metals or otherwise the materials like fallen leaves, twigs, plant wastage, animal wastage, the solids which are big in size, they are going to be stuck at the screen bar, and only water can able to pass through it. Only the water can able to pass through it. Have you understood? So here what happened? Physical impurities got trapped here. We removed the physical impurities. Physical impurities, nothing but plastic, metal wastage, and as well as some biological wastage. All these physical wastage, they stuck at the bar screen. What we call it is bar screens. So at the bar screen we stop physical wastages, and now water is allowed to flow on a slope where the speed of water reduces. Why? Because it is somewhat elevated slope, and now it is allowed to flow on the seed bed. That too, grit and sand removal tank. Grit and sand removal tank. Now the water is allowed to flow into grit and sand removal tank, whereas the water flow with a slow rate. So speed of the water is reduced here. When speed of the water get reduced, where it is now? Grit and sand removal. What is meant by grit and sand? Grit is nothing but small mud particles, and sand, you know very well, those are somewhat bigger than the grit. So these grit and sand particle, when they are allowed to the slow speed, then they are going to sediment. They come to the bottom of the tank. So we can get the sand and grit here. So what we call it is grit and sand removal tank, where we are going to remove the dust particle and as well as sand particles. So however, first we removed the physical particle, then what we removed? Grit and sand, dust particles. And however, the water is now flows into another tank. Maximum in some water plants it appear in funnel shape, which have sloped body. Then what happens? Whatever the water that entered into this tank, it is what we call sedimentation tank. Sedimentation tank. So what happens in sedimentation tank? The water which contain impurities, it enter into sedimentation tank. Now in the sedimentation tank, whatever the solid particle, human feces or any other organic material that have heavier than the water, they are going to be sink. Means they slowly sediment, they move to the bottom of the tank, they reaches to the bottom of the tank here. So whatever the solid material that we collect at the bottom of the tank, so here what we call it is called sludge. It is called sludge. So we got primary sludge. So what happened here? The water is allowed to stay in sedimentation tank, and that this is the first sedimentation tank, whereas the wastewater totally they sedimented. Sedimentation means what? Moving of the solid particles to the bottom of the vessel or tank. That is what we call sedimentation. Means slowly the solid particles they came down to the bottom of the tank. Now however, the solid wastage that collected at the bottom of the tank, that is what we called sludge. It is called as sludge. Now see what happens here. The sludge is sent to digesting tank. It's sent to digester tank. Now it allowed to digester tank. In digester tank, what they will do here, they collect the primary sludge into the digester tank. In digester tank, there is no way to entering of air. So what happens? Ultimately the environment become anaerobic. So in anaerobic condition, the microbes, whatever the microbes that are present in the water, they undergo anaerobic respiration, and this anaerobic bacteria, it converts this what you call primary sludge or the sludge that collected into two useful products, what we called biogas and as well as sludge, right? So here it forms the biogas, and as well as you can use it as a fertilizer, as a biogas, and as well as a fertilizer we can use it. So what happened here, the wastewater now from the grit removal tank, it entered into sedimentation tank. The solids are sedimented and they are collected in the what you call digester tank. In the digester tank, it converted into what you call biogas. It produces biogas, so we can use the biogas in domestic purpose, right? And as well as we can able to produce the electricity by using this biogas, and as well as we can also use this as manure. We can use it as manure. Manure is nothing but organic fertilizer. So this manure can be applied into the field. What we are getting here from primary sludge, we get number 1 biogas, and number 2 manure, biofertilizer. So here biogas is the gas which is produced by the decomposition of waste material. This organic waste material, it gets decomposed and they converted into biogas. So here why do we call it as biogas? Bio means the living things. The bacteria are involving in conversion of the sludge into biogas, right? So it is belongs to life. That's why we are calling it as biogas, which is belong to living thing. So like this we get biogas, and as well as biofertilizer, manure, organic manure, that is organic material, and it convert it upon decomposition, the nutrients are released into that and it is used as biofertilizer. So this is the step. First step, what happened at the bar screen, we removed the physical wastages, and whatever the floaters are there here, so the solid material which are heavier, they sink, and the material which are less weightier than the water, it floats on the water. So now with the help of skimmer, we are going to remove whatever the floating material is there. The floating material is now removed by skimmer. Skimmer is a fade like structure by which we can remove the impurities, means the floaters. Simply we can remove the floaters from the tank, so that now the water become clear, isn't it? Here we removed physical one, here we removed grit and sand, and as well as there we removed the sediments and as well as floaters. Now water becomes somewhat clear, so that water is called clear water. So in next class we learn how the clear water is become pure water in further steps. So here physical processes are going on, and as well as here biological process also went on, right? Next it is sent to the aeration tank, the story will be other. So up to here you may remember. In next class we'll discuss how they are going to be produced pure water from this sewage water. Thank you.